right, good morning. Welcome to another Sunday football live stream. We only got 2 games today because of the Bills game getting postponed. But I'm joined with me, as always, every Sunday, Andrew Kim, a.k.a. the ParlayDoc. Andrew, it's been super long since we last spoke to each other. How you doing?
Good. There were some ups and downs with some of our bets yesterday, but overall, I thought, a good day in my opinion. So excited for today.
Yeah, pretty good day yesterday. We both had the Browns game wrong. We both were on the Browns, but we both were on Flacco, and he came through for us. We both were on Njoku. He came through for us. You were on Hunt touchdown, so you got that. I was on Ford. Unfortunately, I didn't get that. And then in the Chiefs game, I hit their money line earlier in the week. That was a no sweat. The under.
Unbelievable. Under worked. Even my under the key number under worked out too. So it was just a gross game.
Did you had Kelsey yards, which I think hit.
Yeah, but none of the TDs, unfortunately. So
yeah. The Pacheco one I got, and then I had Tyreek or Pacheco touchdown. I had
Pacheco touchdown. Yeah,
Tyreek Hill under yards that hit, and then I had the Pacheco receiving yards. That one, it was just the wrong read. He didn't have anything. He got 1 target, 1 reception for -1 yards, and that was the last leg of our safer parlay. So that was kind of tough. But overall, it was a very good day yesterday. So for today, pretty much the same type of same format. We're going to go main lines for the games and then the player props so we can get started. Packers, Cowboys. I just looked at these odds, so hopefully nothing shifted. Most books have the Packers at +7, but if you're in Colorado or New Jersey, you can get the Packers +7.5, which is at -115 at SportTrade. That was a positive EV play last I checked. Just in terms of odds, and getting it over that key number is a pretty big deal. Other than that, you're mostly sitting around 7 each way. And then the over-under is pretty high at 50.5. So in terms of main lines, what do you like in this one?
Oh, man, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of torn. I do think the Cowboys take this. I'm not going to lie. Not for an official pick today. I have Cowboys money line in so many parlays that are the last leg. So I'm just going to tell you right now, I need the Cowboys.
You should hedge. You should hedge and take the Packers just for a little bit, just so you don't get screwed if they lose.
I know I might. Here's the thing. God, it's just been sitting at that 7 for so long. If you are in Colorado, and if you have the option for +7.5, I would take that +7.5.
Yeah,
I really would, because I think I'm going to go with my dumb heart though, because I don't have 7.5 available to me. I do think the Cowboys are going to pull this off, and I don't think this is going to be one of those epic Cowboy fails. I do think they'll at least get past this round and then fail in the next round. So, I wouldn't blame you if you bought a half point. I'm not really a fan of doing that often, but I'm just going to go with Cowboys -7, and I am going to put money on it. So I'm going to go Cowboys -7. They're at home. I think they're going to do it, but I don't hate anyone who takes Packers +7, because you know why? If you look at their stats in the second half of the season, I don't know what it is with LaFleur, and the O-line has been awesome, giving Jordan Love 1 million seconds to throw. Jordan Love has been finding his receivers. The route running has been crisp. You saw that against my Bears. I'm just like, how is everyone wide open by a half mile? Not that my Bears are the great litmus test of defense, but the Bears had a good run defense, and their defense came on strong in the second half of the season. I think the Bears ended up number 1 in rush DVOA rankings, maybe. So, or maybe number 2.
The Lions were number 1.
Well, they were number 1. Okay.
Maybe if you look at like the second half of the season, because you can filter by that. But on the entire year, I know that because I looked it up for the later game. But the Lions were number 1.
So Bears were in top 5 at least, I think. So you can argue that even that was a decent eye test. But the second half of the season for the Packers has been like night and day with kind of how they started off on offense. So their offensive DVOA rankings are actually pretty decent. I do think they're going to be able to put a point. So, but I am going to go with my heart. I'm going to go with the Cowboys -7. But if you have the option for +7.5, I would actually advise you to take Packers +7.5. Now on the totals, I already missed the boat. I'm not going to touch it on the key numbers, but what I am going to do is I'm going to do just a very easy 2-leg tease down totals parlay. I'm voting for offense today. So I did officially also bet, in addition to Cowboys -7, over 43.5 in this game, over 47.5 in the Rams-Lions game. And you can get that at a healthy -110 at a bunch of books. So I'm not even going to list it. You can do it on FanDuel, DraftKings. So,
sure.
So over 43.5 here, over 47.5 in the second game. And I'm just going to root that there's going to be lots of points because I do think there's going to be lots of points in both games. So that's what I got on main markets for this one.
Yeah, so this one, in terms of the main line for the spread, it's like the EV better in me. I mean, I did take the Cowboys plus 7.5 because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think. It's all about the value. So I thought that was really a really good price. So I did take that. If you were to just ask me for my opinion without looking at without thinking about expected value or anything, I think the Cowboys are going to blow out the Packers, to be honest with you. So from a strictly EV perspective, Packers plus 7.5 is a play. If you're asking what's just your blanket opinion, don't think about the sharp betting or anything like that. I think the Cowboys actually blow them out. The thing with Jordan Love was he was so good to end the year, but he had random stinkers. Like the game against the Giants, they had no business losing. Like you think that he's going to be kind of on his way, but that's the thing with young quarterbacks. They're inconsistent. Like he had a stretch of some incredible games, and then he showed some inconsistencies. And if you have two inconsistent throws against the opportunistic Cowboys defense, it's going to be a turnover. So unless he has one of his incredible games, which is possible, and it's his first playoff game on the road in Dallas, you don't really know what it's going to be like. Not that I think he's in over his head or anything, but I could just see it being a situation where a quarterback making his first playoff start against the Cowboys defense, which can be had, but is also very opportunistic if you give them the chance.
Sure.
I see this one getting ugly, but boy, would it be juicy if the Cowboys ended up losing. God, that would be just amazing. It's all I have to root for now that the Eagles suck. It's just the Cowboys failure. So yeah, so I hope that, I know that was kind of confusing for people, but
I think I agree with you. I think, like you said, from a value, if you're looking at numbers and you're just looking at value, I totally agree. That's why I said, if you're in Colorado, I would take that
or New Jersey
or Jersey.
Yeah.
Packers plus 7.5 makes sense to me, but that's why I'm kind of with you. My heart and my eye test says the Cowboys should win this readily. So that's why, not from a numbers perspective, I'm actually betting with my heart today with Cowboys -7.
At the end of the day, we're both EV bettors, but we're also both sports fans. And we have our own opinions. And sometimes, EV is going to work out for you more often than not, but not every single time. Sometimes your feel for a game ends up being better. But for the total, I'm with you. I don't have any plays on the total. If I had to guess, I still think it goes over. I could see the Cowboys putting up 40 points in this one because that's just what they do at home. And we're going to get into the player props section later, but I saw this on Twitter, the way in which the Packers, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm grinding Packers tape, but people on Twitter said that the weakest part of the Packers defense is A, on slant routes, and B, just up the middle of the field, like seam routes and stuff, but those two types of plays. And that's where Dak is the best at throwing up the seam, and CeeDee Lamb is great on slant routes, and they move him all around the formation. So I think the Cowboys offense is going to have a really good game. And the Packers defense isn't great. They're not in terms of DVOA, they're 20. I have it in my notes here. They're 26th in passing and they're 25th in rushing. So it's they're not good in any of the.
Their defense is underwhelming and is what is going to be their downfall in my opinion.
They're not. Yeah, I was struggling through the wording, but the Cowboys offense has not been a good rushing offense recently. They've been very good passing, so I think they're going to continue to do that. So I like the over, and from my own personal thoughts, I like the Cowboys to win by a lot. But again, strictly EV, if you can get the 7.5, that's the best positive expected value play. If you just totally divorce yourself from what you think. But all right, anything else you have on the main lines? You're ready to go to some player props?
No, that's all I got for the main line. I'm going to close my eyes and really hope that the Cowboys don't F up. So
yeah, well, I actually am going to hope that the Cowboys F up because that would be delicious. All right, so for player props, what do you got?
Okay, I like Jake Ferguson over 43.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at ESPN bet. Part of what you said, look, man, Ferguson is just he is like Dak's safety blanket, and he really has kind of come on with consistency, in my opinion, in the receiving game. Yeah, he has not crushed this number. I'm going to say that 69, 33, nice. 45, 44, 72, 77. So it's not like he's killing it. But I just think, the Packers defense is porous in any way. So whether it's the run game, which the Cowboys have not really been efficient with, but the pass game, which they are prolific, and that's where they suck. I think that's where the Packers suck. I think the Cowboys are going to be able to pick whatever way they want to pick apart the Packers defense, and I think Ferguson is going to have so many wide open looks up the middle. Even if there is a little bit of pressure on Dak, I think he's just going to dump off to Ferguson a million times, just literally right up the middle. So I think Ferguson's going to get this by sheer volume. So I really do like Jake Ferguson to go over his receiving yards. A couple others on the other side, I don't know what it is, but you know what? It's working. And Njoku hit, Kelsey hit. I'm just going tight end crazy this weekend.
There you go.
For kind of different reasons, I do think that even though they're not elite, I do think the Cowboys have enough of a good pass rush. And I do think you're going to find Jordan Love maybe feeling a shorter time clock this time in the pocket. I'm going to split this one. Ferguson for me is $115 bet to win 100. For me, that's 1 unit. I'm going to split this one. I'm going to go a half unit each on both Musgrave and Kraft on the Green Bay side. I think because of the pressure, it's going to be hard for some of these deeper routes to develop, and you're going to get a lot of cheap stuff to Musgrave and Kraft as the outlets. So I like Tucker Kraft over 25.5, minus 115 on PointsBet. And I like Musgrave. I know he just got back, but same thing, over 15.5 at minus 110 on PointsBet. So I'm going to split my unit on the Packer side and go Musgrave and Kraft on the other side.
Sure. So I didn't have anything on any of those plays, but I looked it up on OddsJam as you were talking. Both, I didn't look, the Musgrave one, not every book has odds for that. But the Ferguson one, both his yards and his receptions are positive EV. So if you want his receptions, it's plus 114 at FanDuel. Every other book is around plus 100. And then Caesars has it at like minus 117. And then his yards at ESPN Bet is also positive EV. Like DK had that at like minus 140.
Yeah.
And FanDuel had his receiving yards at like 46.5, I think. So a couple yards higher. So both those plays are good. I put a half unit on each because I think I put both half unit on both receptions and yards for Jake Ferguson. My official player prop for this game, I had Dak Prescott 300 plus passing yards. I pumped it up from like, I think it's 275 last I checked, up to 300 plus.
Nice.
Dak had that stretch in the middle of the season where he hit 300 or more yards in 3 of 4 games. And in the 5th game, he had exactly 299. So basically got 300 yards in 4 of 5 games. Since then, he's only done it in 1 of 5 games, but they had 2 stinker games away against the Bills and the Dolphins, which they're a totally different team on the road versus at home. And then he missed it in a blowout against the Eagles and in a blowout against the Commanders. And then he hit it in the Lions game. So even though he's only done it in 1 of 5 games, you could pretty easily explain that away. And as I mentioned, the way in which you beat the Packers defense is where the Dak and the Cowboys offense thrives.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, the Packers have the 26th ranked passing defense. Baker put 381 on them. Bryce Young, who's horrible, also had over 300 against them. I really, really wanted to have something involved with CeeDee Lamb, but his props are just so juiced. Like his receiving yards is 98.5.
Yeah.
His receptions is 8.5. Like
Yeah.
you really have to pump up his numbers to get any type of value.
Yeah, it's hard to touch. It's hard to touch today.
Yeah. So I didn't think it was worth it. I like the Ferguson angle a lot. So I did put a half unit on that, and I put a full unit on the pumped up number for Dak Prescott. Nice. And then the only other play that I have in this one, it's an anytime touchdown. I have Aaron Jones. This was mostly a line shopping play. So I got it at plus 130. Right now it's best offered at plus 125 at BetMGM. I would still take that. If you look across the board, like ESPN Bet is the closest at plus 115. Every other book has it for minus money. Like Caesars is minus 120. DraftKings is minus 120. And it's a little bit scary because Aaron Jones has scored 3 total touchdowns this year, and he's only scored in 2 games. Granted, he only played in 7 games because of injuries. And people in the comments are mentioning it. I forget it was either my opinion or Marsh. Aaron Jones has been on fire the past month or so. He's had over 100 yards in 3 straight weeks. He's had 20 plus carries in 3 straight weeks. Even though he didn't score in any of those games, that to me is prescriptive for someone that will get into the end zone. So I could see Aaron Jones scoring. So I like it from a value perspective, and I like it just from like a game flow perspective. And if there's any chance the Packers have it winning, it's going to be on the ground, Yeah. So that was my anytime touchdown. You're really not getting any value on any of the Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb is minus 140. And then if you really want a long shot, like maybe it's like a Rico Dowdle or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's what I got. Do you have anytime touchdowns in this one?
I do. There's one I like for value purposes. I'm going to go Brandon Cooks anytime touchdown plus 230 at FanDuel. And
230 is pretty good.
And I'm putting a full unit on it. He has scored 3 games in a row. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. And then previous to that, none for 2 games, and then 2 more after that. So in the last 7, 5 out of 7. If you look at the last 10, it's like, what is it? I don't even know. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 out of 10. Yeah, there you go. Whatever. Something like that. But in the last 5, 3 out of 5. In the last 3, 3 out of 3. So you're giving me Brandon Cooks when they're going to quadruple team CeeDee Lamb. Give me Brandon Cooks plus 2. I think there's value there. I think someone who's consistently come on at the end of the season as a true red zone threat, plus 230. I'll gamble on the plus 230.
Plus 230 is really good, especially when you compare it to every other book. Like I know it's not super great content talking about the odds, but like the closest book is plus 195. Every other book is plus 190.
That's what I'm saying. Your FanDuel, for whatever reason, the odds are pretty off on FanDuel for that, in my opinion.
So, all right. Yeah, I like that one. I just, as you were talking, I put a half unit on that. So, all right. In terms of official bets, I'm on the Packers plus 7.5. I'm on Dak, 300 plus passing yards. I'm on Aaron Jones, anytime touchdown. And then I stole a couple of years, but what are you on for this one?
Cowboys -7, -110 Caesars. I did the parlay over 43.5, over 47.5 in the other game. Okay. Ferguson over 43.5, -115 ESPN bet, positive EV play. I actually looked into it while you're talking. I do like the reception, not only because you said it's plus EV trend standpoint. He's gone over his receptions, I think 3 out of 5 times. So I'm going to go receptions to plus 114, over his receptions 4.5 on FanDuel. So I'm going to put a half unit on that as well. And then I'm a half unit on Musgrave over 15.5, Kraft over 25.5 on PointsBet. And then just the Brandon Cooks plus 230 anytime touchdown. So
cool. All right. Anything else for this game? Or are you ready to move on?
I'm good with this one.
All right. Next up, Rams Lions, the Matthew Stafford Bowl. Pretty much complete agreement across the board in terms of spread with the books. It's plus or -3 everywhere you look. I haven't seen any deviation from that. Most books are juicing the Lions -3 side. It's best offered at -112 at DraftKings. And then if you like the Rams, if you use BetSafe, they're plus 104. Everywhere else, -104. -104, and everywhere else they're basically -105. So from an EV perspective, really no play on the spread. The total, it's actually been, so since I made this graphic, which was like an hour ago, there's some pretty wild movement in terms of the total. Like you can get over 51.5, and then it's all the way up to 53. So that 51.5 is pretty good. I might have to look into that. But in terms of main lines, what do you like in this one?
I'm just going Rams money line. Money line.
I'm totally with you.
Rams money line plus 140 at ESPN bet is where I bet it earlier today. I don't know if it's still there. I have to look, but maybe it's even better now. But
right now, the best price is actually plus 142 at DraftKings.
There you go. I can't believe that. So I actually would have expected it kind of even out closer towards even, but just going the other way. So I'd say take it at DraftKings plus 142. Look, sorry to the Detroit beloved in the Midwest here, but you're going to be able to put up points against this Lions team. And I don't think I'm saying anything prolific there. And I just don't know, but it's just the Rams are peaking at the right time. Their offense is just firing on all effing cylinders. And they play a pretty decent amount of man coverage. And if there's any style of defense that Stafford, Puka, and Kupp is going to salivate, it's man coverage. Okay, I think these guys are going to torch the Lions. I'm just wondering, are the Lions going to keep up? I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. If it is a shootout, I think the Rams have the advantage, honestly, in a shootout-style scenario. So for all those reasons, I just think it's going to be a fun game. I'm excited for this game, but I think the Rams will edge them out if it's an offensive shootout.
I'm with you. I think the Rams win. I would take their money line. I also, as you were talking, I locked in over 51.5. Again, this is a sport trade play, so I wouldn't really touch it anywhere else. But over 51.5 at -115
Ooh,
at sport trade is really good.
that's
Every other book has it at 52, 52.5, all the way up to 53. Like the circas have this at 53.
That's sharp. Yeah, 51.5 sounds really good. Oh my gosh.
So that's a pretty good number. So if you're in Colorado or New Jersey, I would recommend taking that. But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything that the Lions defense, we'll get into it in the player props. They're really good running the ball. They're horrible against the pass. Like in the past 4 weeks, which is a small sample size, they gave up 320 passing yards per game. The next closest team gave up 283. It's like a 40-yard difference between them and the next closest team. And look at Nick Mullins put up 400 against them twice. Dak put up like 350 against them.
Yeah.
It's not who you want to go up against with Stafford, who's going to be motivated to come back into Detroit. Not that he has any bad blood with them, but still a team that he didn't win anything with that ended up trading him.
Yeah.
He's going to want to come in there and play well. So I like the Rams in this one. I like the over as well. Anything else in the main lines? You ready to get into the player props?
No, I think both. It's the funny thing is, I think both you and I were saying, like, this is a while back. I said, I don't think anyone wants to see the Rams in the playoffs, and I think that still holds true today. With all the hard work and the progress that the Lions have made, it's probably one of the worst matchups you could have wanted to face in the first round of the wild card weekend, man. So, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Someone did mention in the comments what we said about Stafford. You could say the same thing for Jared. That's actually true. The Rams did Jared a lot dirtier than the Lions did Stafford. I just think Stafford's better. Like, I don't think Jared. Yeah.
Narrative wise, yeah, exactly. But skill set, I'm sorry, Stafford, even banged up, and he's always been banged up his whole career. Because I mean, look, I'm an NFC Bears guy. I can't remember the last time Stafford didn't have a broken rib or a broken wrist or 8 broken fingers, but still, even with 8,000 fractures, he's still a better quarterback than Jared Goff. And I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah. Goff's a system guy who can run it really well, but Stafford, yeah. So, all right, player props. What do you got?
Okay. I got a few here. Chalk. I don't care. It's chalk because again, I'm not just picking it because of the name and the history. This is a good matchup for Cooper Kupp. So Cooper Kupp, I'll save it while it's too late now. Touchdown. That's what I love. Cooper Kupp,
that's still a player prop.
Plus 130. You're giving me plus 130 in this matchup. And, with the way that he's been coming on at the end of the season, I was just concerned about him, but it seems like it was more of a health thing, getting back into the rhythm. He's come on pretty well in the red zone as of late. So Cooper Kupp, you're giving me plus 130 on ESPN bet. I'm going to take Cooper Kupp. Non-TD prop, I got Demarcus Robinson over 42.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on ESPN bet. I think that's good value. Let me read it off to you. Again, this one, okay, it was against the Giants, but the Giants 92. I don't know about that one. Let's say that doesn't even count because anyone could do that against the Giants. But 82 against the Saints, 44 against Commanders, which not a great thing to comment on. 46 against the Ravens, 55 against the Browns, which now I guess I question given that clunker they had. But he's cleared this, in several games in the last few games. So you're going to have everyone worried about Puka and Kupp burning you. He's this like unsung hidden guy that has been just finding openings, soft parts of the zone. I think he's going to get some volume in what should be a shootout. So a measly 42.5 yards. Give me Demarcus Robinson.
I like that. I saw someone else on Demarcus Robinson. I think they took him at 50 plus. I mean, he's been good. Like with Higbee isn't really doing much. So Robinson's been good. I like that. I like both Kupp and Puka. I feel like I've never been able to correctly predict the right one. Like every time I'm on Kupp, it's a Puka game. Every time I'm on Puka, it's a Kupp game. That means is that Stafford's going to throw for 1,000,000 yards. I didn't realize I did this. I ended up taking him twice to have 300 plus. So I have 2 separate bets on it, which I didn't realize I did. So I should see if I can cash out of one, but either way, I'm heavily invested on Matthew Stafford, 300 plus passing yards. It's the same odds as Dak. And I already kind of mentioned the reason why, but the Lions passing defense, the entire year, they have given up the 4th most passing yards per game.
Yeah.
Since week 10, they've allowed the most passing yards per game at 291. The last month of the season, as I mentioned, they gave up the most passing yards per game at 320, and the next team was at 283. If you look at the props.cash gives you this like recent players against them. The last 5 quarterbacks have all gone over their passing yardage over under against the Lions. 3 straight have gone over 300. Nick Mullins put up 400 against them twice. Dak threw for like 350.
Wow.
Stafford, he has thrown for 300 yards in 5 games this year, but granted he missed 2. So in 5 of 15, so 1/3 of the time. Now this isn't, you can't put a ton of stock into this, but Stafford has played the Lions once since he left, and he threw for 334 yards in that game. But that was 2 years ago. That was the year they won the Super Bowl. So
sure,
it's been a long time. A lot's changed since then. I'm not putting a ton of stock into that. It's more so just the matchup and how the Lions are a pass funnel, like the number 1 rushing defense DVOA, 16th in terms of passing. So their raw stats are worse than what they are in terms of analytically, but they welcome the pass. Like that's how they want to play defense. They say, you're not going to run on us. You're going to pass on us. And then they hope that their pass rush can come through or they can get a turnover or something like that. That's how they want to play defense. Similar to the Texans, honestly, just to an even more aggressive degree. They're better against the run and they're worse against the pass than the Texans. And that worked with Flacco. Granted, the Rams do have a better running game with Kyren Williams, but I don't think this is the game for him. So I like Stafford a lot. I think he's going to have a great game. My anytime touchdown play, I had David Montgomery. He's plus 100 at ESPN Bet. Looks like he's actually plus 105 now. So that's even better odds. But everywhere else, it's still, I mean, that's still an incredible price compared to everywhere else. FanDuel, minus 130, DraftKings, minus 135, Caesars, minus 120. For me, if you're telling me I can get plus money or better on Monty to score a touchdown, to me, that's a gimme. Like he scored in 11 of 14 games this year. And even as good as Jahmyr Gibbs has been to end the year, Montgomery has scored in 3 straight games. He's still the leader in terms of red zone. He gets all the red zone carries, all the red zone work inside the 20, the 10, the 5, all the high leverage stuff. Gibbs is more of like their change of pace back who can score outside of the 20. But when they get inside the 20, they give it to Montgomery more than they give it to Gibbs.
Sure.
So like if you can give me plus money on that, whereas Gibbs is minus money everywhere, I think that's really, really good value. Again, he scored in 11 of 14 games. So that's kind of where I'm at with, I like Stafford and then Montgomery for the anytime touchdown.
Nice. So I got one more besides the chalky Cooper Kupp. So the other one I'm going to go with is I like him for his receiving yards. So I'm also going to go Demarcus Robinson anytime touchdown as like kind of a value stab, for lack of a better term. So you can get him right now. Plus 340 is where I bet it at ESPN Bet. So it's an interesting one where it's as low as like plus 210 at Rivers. It's in the 200, like plus 260 at FanDuel, plus 340 at PointsBet, plus 340 at ESPN Bet. So that's kind of my value touchdown guy for this game. So.
Sure. Yeah. And then if you really want to get spunky, Brian has Puka 2+ touchdowns.
Ooh, really?
I feel like one of Kupp or Puka is going to get 2, or they're both going to score. Like maybe parlay both of them together.
I don't blame someone who's just like Kupp, Puka, Kyren, but Kyren's juice, but like Kupp, Puka, Demarcus Robinson, just like boom, 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 boom. Like you get 2 out of 3. I mean, you're golden. I mean, you're golden. And I'm guessing there's going to be like 5 touchdowns by the Rams this game. So,
yeah, Kyren is best offered at minus 145.
It's gross.
Puka is at plus 125. So Puka's more likely to score in terms of odds than Cooper Kupp, which I think is crazy. Like they're both awesome, incredible players. But I don't know, in a playoff game, like as good as Puka was, and as much as Stafford targeted him, like I could just in a playoff game, like they won a Super Bowl targeting Cooper Kupp every single play. So that's kind of what I think. All right. Anything left in this game?
Not this one, but I do have 2 wild card specials on FanDuel, and then one I want to debate with you before we create our parlays.
All right. Let's hear it.
Okay. This one, square. I don't care because I see it happening, guys. If it doesn't happen, I would be shocked. Wild card special section of FanDuel. It's not great odds, but if it doesn't happen, I would be shocked. Love, Dak, and Stafford to combine for 6 passing TDs. Come on. 6. between the three.
You could, I mean, I think Stafford and Dak could do that between the two of them.
Plus 100. That's where
pretty
I bet.
good.
That's not, I mean, it's not sexy. I know it's not your plus 15,000 guys, but everyone in the world, I think, agrees right now. These are going to be pretty decent scoring games. And if they're going to score, again, maybe this is the game the Cowboys run it, but I highly doubt they're going to go away from their passing with CD and Cooks and all these guys. So Love, they're going to probably have to pass it, honestly. And even if you bring in Aaron Jones, it's probably going to be a pass to Aaron Jones more than anything, in my opinion. Okay. And then Stafford, there's no question he's going to get passing TDs. So 6 between the three. I think that's pretty solid.
Yeah. You just got to hope that, like no one gets tackled at the 1 and then it's just a vulture or
I know. That's what's going to stop me. Second one, little riskier, but rolling with this team. Don't go as crazy on the unit size. Each team, and it's the Lions of all the people, it's the Lions that worry me a little on this one, but each team with 2 passing TDs today. Each team, just today, not tomorrow, just today, each team with 2 passing TDs apiece, plus 480. Not amazing, but I'm gonna put like a third of a unit on that one.
Yeah, that one's not as good. I would hope to be a little bit better than plus 480, but
I was hoping for like plus 600, but not there. Okay.
Yeah, the Lions are the concerning one because they could just run, like I said, they could
Gibbs,
just run
Montgomery,
Monty could just get 2 touchdowns.
Just get them all. So here's the one I want to debate with you. I know the odds are not going to be as good as just you and me building a parlay, but I like how they give you that little flexibility. So I'm a sucker for these, and they're stupid in terms of value. Yeah, it's on FanDuel.
Yeah.
So go to Wild Card Weekend Specials. I want you to help me debate this one, okay? There's any 4 of these to score. It's one of those things where they give you like 5 people, but any 4, okay? All right. So you tell me which you like better of these 2, all right? Pollard, Monty, Lamb, Puka, Ferguson at plus 650. But 4 out of those 5. Pollard.
Read them again.
So Pollard, Monty, Lamb, Puka, Ferguson. And you need 4 out of the 5 to score to plus 650.
Oh, that's scary.
I know.
I
Okay.
mean, plus 650, of course, like it's really good analysis when someone gives you a plus money play and you're like, oh, that one, I don't know if that one's going to hit. Like, yeah, no, that's why it's plus 650 anyways. All right. So that's that one. What's the other one?
Pollard, Kyron Williams, Aaron Jones, Puka, Ferguson. Slight variation, plus 700.
So I kind of like the first one better because between Pollard and Aaron Jones, I don't like having both of them in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then the other one is Monty instead of Kyron Williams, and I think I like Monty better than Kyron Williams overall.
Yeah. I even though Kyron Williams is way better or way more likely to score in terms of odds, I agree with you on Monty.
Okay. I might roll with the other one then, the plus 650. So that's Pollard, Monty, Lamb, Puka, Ferg. 4 out of the 5 have to score.
4 out of the 5. Yeah, that's a little scary, but you never know.
It is scary, but I'm going to roll with that one. Plus 650. It's under Wild Card Weekend Sunday specials if you're interested in being wasteful like me.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, that field goal one was amazing. All right. So parlay time. We do one crazy degenerate one that's a little more likely to score or more likely to hit. If we had just switched the Pacheco one with your Kelsey one, that would have hit. So that's my
what can you do? No, it's greed. It's greed. It's whatever.
All right. So how do you want to? Let's do the safer one first.
Gotcha.
How do you want to go about this?
Let's do some. Let's do some passing. Let's do some passing yards. Let's do a QB heavy, safe passing one. Just passing yards. They're unlikely to get injured. Not going to get a hard tackle, a hit in the head, trying to catch a pass over the middle and be out of the game and screw us. So quarterbacks are likely going to make it through the game. So let's do some passing, maybe passing and overs on the games or something. Let's just offense with the quarterbacks and maybe the totals. Let's do a safe one.
All right, this one's gross.
I know you like Stafford, but you're kind of heavy on that. So I don't know how we could juice it down maybe like 275, 250 or something like that.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to build out as we're talking. If we do Stafford and Dak both at their main line, that's plus 264 with just them two.
Okay.
So the problem is just because there's only 2 games, they're going to be correlated.
Well, how about Love? I think he's going to be playing from behind is my guess. How about if you put in Love like what about his main line even? His main line.
Love's main line is 250, which I don't think is bad.
That's not bad.
So if we do those 3, just main line, Dak, Love, and Stafford, that's plus 513 for the 3 of them.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Plus 513 is not bad
for a 3-legger, and just all QBs, all to throw the ball. Even I don't hate it.
Yeah. All right. I'll put a third of a unit on that one. 0.3.
All right. So let me put that.
That's our safer one.
Safer. Yes, safer. Exactly.
So, all right. In terms of a touchdown one, I like the Brandon Cooks one. I think we should ride with that.
Okay. All right.
So that's one. In the other game, we could do we're not going to really get a ton of value. I guess Puka at plus 125 isn't terrible. This one's on FanDuel. I kind of we haven't talked about him at all. Jameson Williams. Just as like a dart throw. It's best offered at MGM at 300, but it's 240 on FanDuel.
He is he is a dart throw. That's a good way to describe him. It's like boom or bust with that guy. So
yeah, but if you just him and Cooks, Jameson Williams and Cooks is plus 1,000 already.
Really? Just
yeah.
Oh gosh.
So if we had one more.
DeMarcus. Let's just go DeMarcus. Let's just say this is the degenerate one, right? So what if you had DeMarcus Robinson?
It's actually not as good as you would expect. If you had DeMarcus Robinson, it's plus 3,100.
Yeah. That's already risky as a standalone. So okay.
I mean, we could do Cook's odds. Just let's see. I mean, we haven't talked what about? I don't know. It's tough when there's only 2 games because if you do too much of a same game parlay, the odds are just going to be terrible. Like the books.
Look, we've done enough for today. Is there someone we can add for tomorrow and hope that we carry it over and root for it for tomorrow too?
I'd say we let today be today.
Let today be today. All right.
Yeah, and then tomorrow will be tomorrow.
Do you think Dak can run one in with his leg?
I was thinking about Dak. I could see Dak.
I don't think that's absurd. I don't think that's absurd. I really don't. He's been using his legs, and he uses it in must-win games. So maybe Dak to run one in.
So yeah, Dak. Those 3, Dak, Cooks, and Jameson Williams is plus about 3,500.
I think that's more realistic even than DeMarcus Robinson.
DeMarcus,
yeah. I could see Dak especially early in the game before they start pulling away. I think he'd want to just be sure at the goal line and run one in, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Let's just leave it at that then. 2 3-leggers, one safer than the other. Dak, Jameson Williams, and Brandon Cooks, all to score plus 35, basically plus 3,500. I put 5 on it to win 175. Why not?
All right. Let's go. That sounds good to me, man.
It's cool. All right. Well, anything else you have for today?
That's enough degeneracy for one. That's a lot of bets for 2 games. So that's
it's always scary when it's less games. So everything has to happen in 2 games. It's a lot less.
I know.
But all right. Well, we'll probably be back at some point tomorrow. We need to figure out the timing. Games at great timing on the question. Probably the games are at 4:30 and it's like 6 or 8 Eastern, something like that. We will probably be back. We just need to figure out timing. So yeah, look out for that. But appreciate everybody for joining. Andrew, appreciate you for joining me as well. Let's all win our bets today. And yeah, we'll catch with you tomorrow.
Sounds good.